Hello and welcome to SVC's Spotlight on Various Careers. Throughout the week, we have presentations from our partner organisations, explaining their career path and how they got involved with volunteering. There are a couple of presentations that are unique to the subject area in which they come from. So today's talk is from Charlotte Fry and Sue Jones. They've graciously sent in a video for us. So they're both college wellbeing practitioners at Valley Steps. So I'll just sort of display that video now and let them do all the talking. As I said, just pop a message in the chat if you have any questions. Hopefully that's all clear. And
Hi, I'm Sue. I work for Valley Steps. Valley Steps deliver workshops and courses on mindfulness and wellbeing to members of the public, the community within the Rhondda and Taff area, and also Merthyr and Bridgend. Although they are expanding, they have different projects going on as well. So I'm employed as a college wellbeing practitioner, along with my colleague Charlotte, who's here with me. And we're working on a new project, working with students, providing a wellbeing support service for students, and that's within the University of South Wales, Coleg y Cymoedd, and the College Merthyr Tydfil. So I'll hand you over to Charlotte now.
Thank you. So if I just give you a brief overview of our role and what we do. So obviously I'm Charlotte, and I'm another one of the wellbeing practitioners here at Valley Steps. So our role particularly involves consulting students and what they want and need from wellbeing services. It involves creating and updating a student space on the website with quite a lot of IT help, we must say. So do check out valleysteps.org/students. We also develop workshops and create resources to help with students' wellbeing, and we use tips and strategies from a range of approaches. So that includes things like CBT, solution-focused techniques, mindfulness, a bit of imagery, ACT, positive psychology, and DBT, and there are probably some more as well. So we try and cover a range, and then we look to record or deliver our workshops online at the moment in the current climate. And we're also looking to develop and deliver an online course, hopefully based around building resilience for students as well. And the project is hopefully expanding, so do watch this space.
Okay, so just going to talk a bit about my career journey now and how I got into this role. So for me personally, I started my career as a general nurse many moons ago. And then after a long time in nursing, I left general nursing and did a degree in psychology as a mature student. Then I worked briefly after the birth of my son. I worked briefly in a couple of part-time jobs as an assistant psychologist within the Learning Disability Service. And then I became a graduate mental health worker. And during that time, I worked with the primary care mental health team, so doing one-to-one work and group sessions. And we also, as part of the project, we did a postgrad certificate in mental health studies, which included learning some CBT skills as well. Following that, I went on to work as an assistant psychologist in child services, which I did for a while. And then I took a career break, so I became a carer for my son. So I was out of work for about 13 years, I think it was. And then getting back into work, so I started volunteering. So I went on a course myself, and then I became a volunteer delivering courses in the community, sort of health and wellbeing courses. And then one of the people that was working there suggested that I apply for some admin work within the organisation she worked for. So that's how I got back into work initially after volunteering. And then once I was in doing that and I was still delivering courses as a volunteer, I applied for a role as a coordinator. And then it was from that role from there I applied to work with Valley Steps, the position that I'm in now with the student project. And I think Charlotte's going to fill you in on her story.
Thanks, Sue. So I've got a variety of experience. Mine's mostly in the third sector, and I've also got a strong research background. So I have qualifications in psychology, peer support, and I'm currently working towards a qualification in counselling as well. So I've had voluntary and paid roles, and I just want to give you a whistle-stop tour of the type of things. So at uni, I volunteered with Cardiff Nightline, which is kind of like Student Samaritans. And through there, I mentored newer volunteers, and I was coordinator of the service in my final year, and that involved like training and supporting volunteers as well. My degree had a placement year, so that was with the charity Clemai, and that was looking at research with homeless young people. I then started at what used to be Student Volunteer in Cardiff, is now Skills Volunteering Company, SVC, coordinating volunteer projects, and that's a small charity. And again, a lot of training and supporting volunteers. I did a lot of research with homeless young people and young people attending college or sixth form. And after I left my job at SVC, I was actually a trustee for them for 4 years as well. I've done phone support for victims of crime, looking at emotional support, practical support, and kind of highlighting their rights. I was also a peer navigator for a charity in Bristol, which involved providing solution-focused support for young people and kind of helping them navigate services, really, and connect with services. I've been a relief support worker for the Crisis House in Cardiff, working with adults in mental health crisis. I've also worked in a multidisciplinary team, so involving police, social services, education, health, debriefing young people after they've come back from being missing. My last role was a young person's caseworker, where I supported young people in Gwent around their wellbeing, and that was one-to-one, or also kind of facilitating peer support groups. And we were focusing on empowerment there. And I'm currently still a Childline volunteer counsellor with Childline, which I have been for about 3 years now.
Wow, lots of experience.
So thinking about the best and most challenging things of our role, I came up with the best things for me were creating engaging resources for wellbeing, making things really exciting so that people want to sort of look at them and do them. And hearing the brilliant ideas that students come up with as well. A couple of challenges for us at the moment to kind of trying to engage students, and also kind of time, particularly for me because I'm part-time and we're trying to do a lot of stuff. We're really ambitious, you might have noticed, so trying to fit it all in is quite a challenge.
So for me, the best things are getting feedback from students that we've made a difference to their lives. So when we get that feedback and they say, you know, I've tried what you suggested and it really helped me, that makes me feel really good. And also working in a positive environment. I think because we work in wellbeing, it is a very positive environment to work in. Colleagues that I work with, we're all very into wellbeing and mental health. So that's a really nice atmosphere to work in. And some of the most challenging things for me have been embracing the technologies. Obviously, I've started at a time where I've had to learn lots of new things. So learning to use new platforms and design software, things like Canva and Zoom, and finding ways to engage the students. As Charlotte said, that it's quite difficult at the moment because we're not having access onto campus to meet people, so we're having to do everything virtually. So yeah, that's been the most challenging. So what qualifications and work experience do you need to do our job? So these are some of the things that were in our job description. Things like we needed a related degree, so that could be a degree in psychology, but also in nursing or counselling, those kind of areas. Experience of delivering health and wellbeing interventions, like delivering some sort of courses or one-to-one kind of work, ideally within the third sector experience or in like health and social care, and experience of working with young people, obviously because our project is with students, so that's the desired kind of work that we need. Experience of safeguarding procedures, facilitation, presenting and being an effective communicator. Obviously that's an essential role, part of our role in what we do and have to do day to day. Experience of managing your own time and working as part of a team. So again, essential skills in any kind of job really. And knowledge of evidence-based and common mental health and wellbeing approaches. So that's just being in touch with what's going on with mental health and wellbeing at the moment, sort of policies and things that are out there.
And we thought we'd finish off with some top tips for students wanting to work in mental health. Volunteering is a big one. So if you can get experience of working with or supporting a range of people, and more importantly, which ties into our next tip, reflect on what you make of it or what you've learned from your experience. That's really important. linking in nicely to tip number 2 is to think broadly. So sometimes I think people get a bit focused on what types of experience they should have. And it's more about, like I said, what you make of an experience and what you've learned from it, than whether it's kind of typical experience or not. Another big one, as Sue was saying about, is to keep up to date with the current issues affecting mental health and well-being. And a really massive one to finish off with, last but definitely not least, is to look after your own mental health and well-being. And that's really important so that you can kind of know what it's like when you're supporting others as well, and can say kind of what was helpful for you and what might be helpful. So that's a really key one. That's probably our top tip, I think. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte and Sue. If you get to watch this back,